Let's talk hot topics, gents.
Yeah, move right into it.
Yeah. How about the KSU Pedestrian Bridge? There was an editorial in the paper discussing, was it worth it, basically. They posed a question, was $5 million worth it? Now that the bridge has been completed, the very final step was taken, and most people who have driven down East Main have seen the nice sign that Ruggles put up. It's lit from behind, which is pretty neat. So the Kentucky State letters. It's similar to what's on the entrance for them.
Yeah.
Except instead of being lit from the front by lights, it's actually lit interior. And there it is. There's a nice shot of it from KSU's Instagram. So, guys, I'll throw that out to you on the question that the newspaper posed. Was it worth the $5 million?
David, I'll let you go first.
I will say, I think it looks really nice.
Yes.
I think it is a great thing. Anytime that anything's added to my town, to make it look better, I like it. I think that sign looks good. I think the sign in front of the school looks good. I really do like you said, the backlit letters look really good. It looks really cool. If you haven't seen it, go look at nighttime. It looks really cool. It's kind of a little optical illusion on it when you drive through it. It looks pretty cool. $5 million. I don't know. Student safety is important. I don't know how many students are actually using it. Some people say the tunnel used to be there. They should be using that. That tunnel was one of the creepiest places in Frankfort. It also flooded a lot. So
yeah, not safe.
Yeah, not the best. So this is good. It looks good. I think it's actually going to probably become kind of a landmark for Frankfort, I would guess. I will say that the entire public safety building that took a pretty good bashing for how much it cost was $10 million. So
when you compare
the walkway was half of that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
A good statistic there, Mr. Columbia. It hits home, and there was a lot that went into it. And like you mentioned earlier this morning when we were discussing it, there were some underground utilities that had to be dealt with.
Absolutely, and relocating those utilities was a huge part of that expense, and adding some parts to the roadway that has changed around the area and parking, but. There's a good section of utilities that are underground now and a lot safer. We don't have to worry about.
It is good branding for the university. I don't think there's any doubt about that. It brings it front and center, and the signage is nice, and it looks nice. It is. So they make the point that nobody's, and we talked about it here, have you ever actually seen anybody walking across it? And I go past it every day, multiple times a day, and
because we got to go through there to get to the administration building.
Yeah.
From
and
where we
just
are.
to be honest, no, I've never seen a soul in it. But if you can make it safer for one person,
it's worth it.
It's probably worth it.
Yeah, I'm all about safety for those kids and for the folks taking classes down there, getting across the street if they need to.
No doubt.
I'm all for the safety, and I do think visually it does look pretty. I think with the sign lit up, it looks nice.
Yeah. Can we bring the picture back up one time? Can I get nitpicky for a second? Also, I'm gonna go there.
You pick some nits.
Yeah. So the part there that says Mary Sias, I get it, and she put a lot of work into it, making sure that happened.
Yeah.
I'd love it if at some point that came down, because that's like an application to the windows, and maybe make it a little more subtle.
Like maybe like right underneath there.
Yeah,
just something permanent too, but just subtle.
Right. Something a little more subtle.
But that's your design takeaway, right?
That's a design takeaway. Exactly. I can't help it.
Yeah.
Guys, are we done with that one?
Well, I will say, people that are looking at it and not seeing a bunch of students walk through it. When I worked at Murray State, I shot a lot of, I worked in the media services, and I shot a lot of video. When classes were letting out or right in, there were kids everywhere. As soon as, classes were back in.
True.
It was like a ghost town.
You're
Middle
right.
of the day, they're in class.
Same thing at UK. Even as big as that campus is, you'll see times where you don't think anything's happening. So
so don't expect people to be walking through their single file all day long.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
You're exactly right. And a good point. Let's talk city commission, guys. We've talked about on the show multiple times how we were going to get down to the very end of it, and we had nobody in, and then all of a sudden there was going to be a rush, and sure enough, that's what we got. So tell us a little bit about who all jumped in the fray and what happened there this weekend.
Okay, I'll at least read off the names of the folks that popped in on us while we were out. Got that notification kind of when we were out setting up for Game of the Week on Friday. But we've got got Lisa Unger is running, Brent Swiger, Diane Strong, Anna Marie Rosen, Harry Carver, Kyle Thompson, Will Pribble, Shannon Griffith, Kelly May, Tim Childers, and incumbent commissioners Katricia Waldridge and Eric Wisman. So out of the incumbents, we already knew Katricia was running, and then I guess, Eric threw his name back in the hat Friday afternoon sometime.
So that puts us at 12?
I think it's a dozen. Yep.
Yeah. So and as it says in the State Journal, the top 8 candidates from the primary will move on to the November 3rd general election, and the primary is May 19th.
That's right. And the paper mentioned somebody who's very familiar to us as plant board employees, that Miss Rosen, they had a few bites from her that she felt like her experience on the board would serve her well on the city commission. So she's looking to tackle a new challenge, I think. And
if I'm not mistaken, Kyle Thompson ran for mayor a few years back.
Maybe 2 elections ago.
So he has some election experience there too.
We've seen Shannon Griffith before. Kelly May's, a local restaurant manager, I believe, and Bill May's son. Tim Childers, we've seen before, is a constant Facebook commenter on the State Journal's Facebook page. We see his name out there a lot.
Yeah.
Along with several of these other candidates as well. So it's interesting. I said on Friday, I was like, I really want a bunch of people to get in there to make our May primary a little more fun for us. So I'm glad they did. So it'll be fun. We'll get to meet all these people. We'll do our Meet the Candidates coming up pretty soon. I think I'll send the letters out for that next week. Get them in here as soon as we can, see what they're thinking. Yeah. And we'll air them a million times before the election so everybody can be informed. So.
And we'll have them on YouTube, on our YouTube page as well.
Yep.
And it's never a bad thing to have more choices and more people to throw their hat in the ring and to get their voices out there and, go through the process.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that there are now 12 candidates, 11 or 12, however many. But I'm glad to see that there's a lot more now than what we were looking at on Wednesday or Friday of last week.
And we've got incumbents, we've got some business folks, we've got people that have been on boards in town, we've got people that have never run for anything. We've got a little bit of everything. I think that's some good variety for the people of Frankfort to look at.
Yeah, and so that makes it official. Like you said, now entries are closed. So these names that we have, that's it for mayoral and city commission, right?
And so we've got some other folks in for the mayor as well. Where's that at? Oh, yeah, at the bottom there. Oh, yeah, there we are. So we already had Tommy Haynes in there, and Jason Keller was announced a week or two ago. Lane Wilkerson and Rodney Williams and Stuart Perkins.
A good list of names, several that we are familiar with. So that'll be an interesting race as well.
Yeah.
Should we talk parcels B and C?
Let's do it.
Are we ready? We've got some comments on Facebook. Do we want to start with those? Let's see. Rebecca says she'd like to see a coffee shop or a restaurant in front of the new office building.
Sure she would. She's right there, too. She's in that new building. So she's like on the first floor of that new building. So, yeah, I'm sure she would love that.
Leslie Smith would love to see a restaurant and maybe some grocery shopping, which we talked about. Is there any way they could incorporate that after downtown lost Pick Pack? So that's a possibility. She'd love to see some groceries down there. So, yeah, guys, you mentioned earlier that some people voice concern, we've already got a coffee shop downtown, don't hurt that one. We've already got restaurants downtown, don't hurt those.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the right way to look about it. At it.
I don't think so either.
We had a talk earlier last week about something similar, that I think the more you bring in, the better. So if you've got more choices of restaurants downtown, you bring in maybe a whole new group of people. Like the more you have going on downtown, the more people you bring in, because it's a variety.
Absolutely.
And just get numbers down there, no matter how you have to do it. It's not going to hurt other restaurants. In fact, it's going to help them. And maybe they come down for a new restaurant, and maybe it's busy, and they say, "Hey, let's go to Serafini's or wherever."
Try out something new.
It's you got to step back and look at it from an economic development standpoint instead of a small town standpoint.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you look out here on Main on US 60. There's 3 auto parts stores right next to each other, but they're all doing fine because you've got a variety and people can go there, and there's a selection.
Yeah.
So it actually, there's research that shows that stores grouped together bring more people. So
you're right.
It makes sense.
Yeah, and I remember I brought up a similar gripe. I'm like, why would you build 3 of them? And specifically on Versailles Road, the O'Reilly and Advance and AutoZone, whatever, they're right there, like within a tenth of a mile of each other. But you're right. Like science does show that that those, when one goes up, the other ones go up, because the business, they all kind of build off of each other.
Yeah, the industry that I always noticed it with was car dealerships. So since I was a kid,
Right,
like, why
yeah.
are car dealerships always right there together? And it's because if you're looking for a car, you know, all the dealerships have different vehicles, and if somebody's looking, it's good for me to be next to this one because they're looking for the car they're looking for, and if that guy doesn't have it, you might have it on your lot. So you attract all that traffic, and then they're gonna hit the loop there.
Yeah, and I get people's initial reluctance to it, because you know, we love our local flavor, and like, you know, we don't want to see buddies get hurt, or we don't want to see business go away from Gibby's, but at the same time, like, I think it does that. It builds on itself, because like you said, maybe they will go to that whatever new restaurant that opens up down there, and they'll say, oh, it's a little busy, it's a little crowded, I don't want to wait 15 minutes, so I'll go down the street to Buddy's, or I'll try something else, I'll try Serafini's.
Right. I actually remember having city commissioners run on a platform of no change in Frankfort. So, and I think
I remember specifically who that was.
So I think it's a good thing though, and growth is good, and you know, you don't want to change the things that you love about the town and that you remember from your childhood and whatnot, but you can definitely have both. It's not mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm. And well, Kathy Lindsay, who's no stranger around these parts, says we need an old school arcade down here.
Oh man,
she said there's not enough skee ball.
I'm down with that,
Yeah.
Kathy. And I don't know if Kathy's been to Asheville and Hendersonville, North Carolina. There's a company that has one in both, but they call it a pinball museum, but they have a ton of vintage pinball machines. And then the one in Asheville has also a giant room of vintage arcade games, video games, and so it's the stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
And they have a bar in it as well, and I think and Lexington has a couple similar things, not as big, not as many machines, but I think could do well here.
Oh, I think so too.
Anywhere really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the new vibe they're making downtown, I think it would fit right in with it.
Yeah, I would love that.
So if anybody wants to invest in that,
there's at least 3 people here and Kathy Lindsay. That would go down.
Anything else on B&C, guys?
Well, let's take a look. Did we see the graphic of
good
it?
call.
So here's the look I've got on the laptop. I've got the item checklist. If you can look at that and see what all they've got on there on that checklist, which is pretty crazy. But you can see the proposed new YMCA here. They're talking about really revamping this hotel. Mm-hmm. And one thing I noticed, there's a parking garage right here. These are apartments that are proposed here. Look at all this parking.
Yeah, a lot of
if
parking.
there's something we really need down there, it's parking. You can see the YMCA is not here. So there's something else, some retail chances there.
It's about taking advantage of the Capitol Plaza Hotel too, right? Mm-hmm. Expanding onto the restaurant and bar there too.
You see Ann Street has moved through, or Washington Street has moved through there.
Yeah, guys, we've got about a minute. We've torn through our 30 minutes today.
Yeah.
Thomas Rhett was spotted in Frankfort. Guys, do you know who Thomas Rhett is? I think we've got a picture of him.
The name looks familiar, but
singer-songwriter
no
Thomas
idea
Rhett.
who that is.
And he's no joke. He's I'm not familiar with kind of modern country as much as I am with old country, and then guys like Sturgill and Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler Childers.
So, but yeah, he's won like Artist of the Year and some things, Country Artist of the Year on a couple.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's no joke, and so he got to visit with the folks at Chick-fil-A. So
I wonder what he was doing in Frankfort.
I don't know the answer.
Maybe
to that.
he had a show somewhere in Kentucky, and they stopped
through.
by not too far off the interstate.
Right. I'm going to skip one that we don't have time to talk about. Oscar nominations were announced today.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do have some Oscar nominations. They just announced like a few hours ago. Maybe and you can break them down a little longer on Wednesday or something.
For sure,
yeah.
I'd like to go in on them. Yeah.
Yeah, but big takeaways. I think a lot of folks are surprised that Greta Gerwig got snubbed. I think for best director. The movies are kind of the best features are kind of. I'm sort of surprised by the Ford versus Ferrari. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about that.
Yeah, I think it looks great, and my dad loved it, and people loved it in general. And I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I'm looking forward to that one.
But no, I'm glad to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in there several times, and Brad Pitt and Leo getting nominated for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then see if Tarantino can win original screenplay too.
Yeah, I just watched it again this weekend,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, we'll have to talk about it.
Yeah.
we'll have to chat that
But
one up.
I still need to watch Joker, and I really want to see Parasite,
Yeah.
the South Korean film. A lot of people are talking about.
I really
want
want to see Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah, same for our boy Taika.
Yeah, we've seen a lot. Guys, if you want to follow us on Instagram or Facebook, you can do that. Just search for Cable 10 on Facebook and FEB Cable 10 on Instagram. We're there. We're going to try to keep those new stuff happening all the time. You can watch our programming live on there. Comments or questions at cable10@fewpb.com. Send us any comments you've got. We appreciate you watching. Mm-hmm. And remember, if it happens around town,
it's on around 10.
that's right.